Hi, and welcome back, guys. Today, I'll be talking about someone who has been such an inspiration and someone who I owe my life to. Uh, my grandfather, who recently became viral in the Philippines because some of his videos from 1954, uh, survived, and it was him participating in a youth debate in the UN, and it became viral. I was shocked that it actually went viral. My family was so happy to know that our grandfather, our lolo, our popo, that's what we used to call him, by the way, popo. He's viral. He's going viral on YouTube. I was so curious what people had to say about him. And I was so shocked to see that, you know, Filipinos are saying, "Oh, what an amazing man. He should be the next president." Whatever happened to him, there was this, like, he had fans because of how amazing and unbelievable he was in that debate. Filipinos were blown away to hear someone like him, someone as young as him, talk so commanding, and to use such eloquent and such big words in English. And mind you, at that time, English was still a niche. It wasn't something really as popular now in the Philippines, but before, it was only reserved for, like, really smart and rich people. And unfortunately, my grandfather was not rich, but he was smart. If you watch the video, you would actually hear a very thick accent, a Filipino accent, but it didn't matter because the way that he commanded the language was just exceptional, way better than the native speakers he was up against with. He basically put them to shame, put them in their proper place at that time. Uh, you know, and it's just it's a breath of fresh air for a lot of people to see uh, a Filipino to command such attention and respect from a long time ago. And I guess this inspired some of you guys, and I do hope that his message would ripple across time to the next generations of Filipinos. He talked about hope. He talked about very practical things from the view of someone who just survived World War II. He was talking sense, not nonsense, like, "Oh, I believe the future is going to be like this and like that." No, he based everything on facts that he saw at that time. So I guess this was a breath of fresh air. Here's a kid who was talking based on experience, and someone who's really talking from the heart. So yeah, I that's why he became viral. So I've been seeing a lot of comments, and a lot of misinformation about him. One of the most common questions I was asked was, "What happened to him? Did he pursue a career in politics?" Actually, no, he did not pursue a career in politics. He actually became a businessman. He delved into business, and being as smart as he was pretty successful. He managed businesses. One of his jobs before was he was a supervisor, or a manager for a wet and dry market somewhere in Manila. After that, he became a business owner as well. Uh, He, I think, owned or co-owned a textile factory. After that, one of his other jobs was he became a part owner or owner of Harrison Plaza, a very famous and old mall in downtown Manila in Malate. Um, you know, he provided business advice to a lot of Filipino businessmen. He was also very knowledgeable about law, and he gave a lot of legal advice for a lot of businessmen. He also was a lobbyist. He lobbied for a lot of businessmen as well. The other noteworthy jobs that he held was in the early 1990s, he was the president of Hayalay de Manila, which reopened in Harrison Plaza. So he was the one who like really ran things there. He was the main reason why Hayalay de Manila came back up again. Other than being in business, he was also, a very, very passionate member of the Rotary Club. I remember him taking me to a lot of Rotary Club meetings where he would introduce me to like big shot businessmen. Mind you, he was the member in downtown Manila, and a lot of the members there were like really, really big shot businessmen. Most of them Filipino Chinese, and yeah, I he would introduce me to someone, and then later on I would ask him like, who was that guy? Oh, that guy is like uh he's like one of the biggest exporter of fruits in the Philippines. He's really, really successful, and I was just so amazed that my grandfather knew these kinds of people. He would converse with them and hang out with them. Later on, he finally was able to achieve one of his goals, is to become the president, his Rotary Club in downtown Manila. And um, he was very happy with that. He was actually really, really, really happy about that. After that, what else can I, say about his career? Um, After Highlight de Manila, he continued on to become the president of the first online casino in the Philippines. And at that time, in the early 2000s, uh, the internet was still in its infant stages in the Philippines. And he saw this vision of the opportunities of having an online business as early as the 2000s. He had that foresight. He had that intuition where this could be big. But unfortunately, there were some legal matters. I don't really know the details, but from what I know, the business was opposed by Pagcor. So yeah, it didn't really become as big as he hoped it to be. After that, he still continued giving legal and business advice to a lot of other businessmen, and this was his bread and butter mostly. People looked for him for advice. That's how smart he was. That's how good he was when it came to business and the law in the Philippines. What kind of person was he? I mean, the first thing that you would notice about him when you talk to him was he was a funny guy. He was a really funny guy. He had a really good sense of humor. He would always make me laugh. Uh, One thing that always made me laugh was he had this pouch where he used to keep his money, and he would usually complain like, my my thumb hurts. I would ask him like, why? Well, it hurts because I've been reaching into my pocket all the time. Where he would take out money and give it to someone like me, or some of my other family members. So yeah, he was just like that. He found humor in very simple things, and that's what people liked about him is that he was a funny guy, and he was very sincere as well. He was a very loving man. He really cared about us, me, my sister, and one of my other cousin, whom he raised from birth, and he was just not a grandfather. He was a father, he was a mother. He raised us by himself. He did his best to give us a good future. One thing that he really focused on when we were children was education. Not like you have to do good in school. No, not really. He wasn't like that. He wouldn't really push you to do something forced, especially with education. The way he valued education was by giving us books. I read so many books when I was a kid. And, I think because of that, this is how I speak now. Like all English books about really random things, all about science and history and, like encyclopedia for kids and advanced information that a child should know at that age, and information that uh, a child needs to know when they grow up. He would buy us like almost every day. He would buy us books. One thing that he really liked was like for me, I love reading Archie. Also, my sister loved reading Archie comics. He would just buy it for us, like no question asked. We had like stacks of Archie comics this high. Archie comics, the regular one and the double digest. It's he he just wanted us to read. I think that's what he really valued, is reading at that time. He would buy us instead of toys. He would come home and he would show me a new book that he bought about science and technology. He just through that way, he gave us a vast wealth of knowledge in a lot of different things. And to be honest, I think that's what made me who I am today. Like how can I say, like my brain is filled with random knowledge, and even up to now, I still have that passion for learning about different things, and this is something that I credit him for. He created that interest or that curiosity in me, where I want to learn about really random things. So yeah, that's the kind of parent he was. He really valued reading. He really valued books. He would rather us watch like English shows. Uh, like Sesame Street, when we were kids, me and my sister, my cousin would just watch Sesame Street in the early mornings. After that, of course, Batibot. Yeah, he wanted us to watch TV for because it's going to help us in the future, and he didn't mind us watching cartoons early in the morning, because at that time, most of the cartoons you would watch on TV was in English, and in the evenings that's when you had television shows dubbed in Tagalog, like Voltus 5, Daimos, Astro Boy. Those are the kind of stuff that I was into when I was younger. Bioman is another one. I'm sure people my age would remember that. He really valued English as it should be like basic knowledge for us. Whenever most of the time, like 80% of the time at home, we would talk in English. I really owe him my life. I owe him, like everything that of who I am now, and I really miss him. He passed away in 2010, and I do miss him. I really do miss him, and he was a loving man. He was someone who would gladly help another person, no question asked. If you needed help, and if he knew you needed help, he was there. Doesn't matter if he knew you or you're a complete stranger. He'll help you. And that's how I want to remember him. Not as a businessman, not as someone who shocked the world in 1954 at the UN in New York. No, I want to remember him as a man who helped other people because that's what humans do. It's the natural thing a person would do is to help someone in need. That has influenced me a lot in my life. That's why I became, I decided to become a teacher. I want to help people. If there are some things that I wasn't able to, clearly explain, this is not prepared. I'm just talking from my heart. I'm talking to you guys like, I'm telling a story. Everything's so disorganized. I hope you guys found this interesting. Who he was as a person, who he was as a man. He was my grandfather. He was the man who raised me, and he was the man who made me who I am now. I really do miss him. I just want to say in closing, um, I miss you, Popo. I hope you're somewhere happy, and we really miss you. I really do, and I hope if you can see me now, you're somewhat proud of me, of um, of who I am, what I've become, and I'll always remember you. And uh, thank you for everything. Thank you.